A small information. During the session, put your audio and video in mute. In between the session, 5 minutes time will be given for posting your queries now and then. During that period, you can post your queries in the chat box. So please try to cooperate. With the welcome note address, let us start the session. Myself, Dr. Kavita, Professor, EC Department, and IEEE Student Branch Counselor, K. Ramakrishnan College of Technology, Trichy. It's my immense pleasure to welcome and to introduce our today's resource person. On this occasion, on behalf of K. Ramakrishnan College of Technology and Department of Electronics and Communication, I extend my warm welcome to our resource person, Dr. S. Sivanandam. Currently, he is working as an Assistant Dean, Academic Research, VIT University, Vellore. He received his BTech degree in Electronics and Communication Engineering from University of Madras in 1997 and Master degree in Tech in VLSI Design from Shastra University in 2002. He obtained his PhD degree in VLSI Design and Testing in 2014 from VIT University. He has around 20 years of teaching experience. He has published around 70 research papers in international journals and conference proceedings. He is a member of IEEE, VLSI Society of India, ISTE, and IEICE. He received Fellowship Award from VLSI Society of India in 2007 from Bangalore, in 2008 from Hyderabad, in 2011 from Bangalore, and also in 2014 and 2017 in India. Also, he received Fellowship Award to attend 3rd International Symposium on Electronic System Design, Kolkata, India in December 2012. Also, he received Fellowship Award to attend IEEE VLSI Design and Test Symposium in 2009. We are very happy to have you as our resource person, sir. On behalf of all of us, once again, I welcome you. Also, I would like to welcome our head of department, Professor Syed Akbar, and coordinator of this program, Mr. P. Mani, EC Department, K. Ramakrishnan College of Technology. It's my pleasure to extend very warm welcome to all the participants who join with us. With this, I hand over the session to our resource person, Dr. S. Sivanandam. Please, sir.
Yeah, thank you, madam. Thank you for your wonderful introduction. Dear participant, very good morning. Yeah, I'm just sharing the slide. Please give me a moment. Ma'am, slide is visible. Please check.
Yes.
Sir, it is visible.
Yeah, okay.
Yes, sir, it is visible.
Yeah, fine.
Yes.
I'll go for slideshow then. Fine, sir. Thank you. So, am I audible, sir?
Yes.
Fine. Thank you, sir. Thank you, madam. Yeah, very good morning, participants. Myself, one of them working in VIT University, Assistant Dean. Organized and introduced about me. So, the next 1 hour session, I'm just going to take you through the various opportunities in research as well as the career in the VLSI domain. In between, if you have any queries or you want to post the question, please put in the chat box. So, no need to wait till the end of the question and answer session. You can just post the question in the chat box. So, I request Kavita ma'am to stop me in between at any time. So, ask the question. So, I will be happy to answer. So, here, this is the overall agenda of the talk, next 1 hour talk. So, first few minutes, I'll be talking about the trends in microelectronics in India as well as the global scenario. So, how as a microelectronics engineer, we can contribute to the society, or how important the microelectronics is as of now. That's one. And then I will be talking about the design life cycle. This, I think, about the various design flow commonly used in any VLSI education. And then, as a part of the VLSI design cycle itself, okay, I'll find it out, like what are the research areas one can focus on. Though I didn't make any extensive slides here, you can stop me at any point, I can interact it. That's very, very useful for you. And also I will be focusing on the career opportunities in VLSI design, where what are the key areas one can focus during the UG and PG studies, so that they'll be ready to be observed by the top VLSI companies. What are the various major VLSI events happening in India? How one can participate as a professor, as a student of UG or PG? How they can participate in those events, and what kind of supports they are providing to the academia, and how academia can benefit from the industry. So in this scenario, I will be focusing in the last slide. So now we are talking about microelectronics. So though it is VLSI, so this is a more generic term, microelectronics. The VLSI is not a new term. It's like emerging. We cannot say it's the emerging word, emerging trends like IoT or IoT or big data. It's not like that. But still, microelectronics is still alive, and it gets a lot of attraction among the various engineers and industry due to this mega trends. So I can say. So one is the demographic and social change happening across the world attract the microelectronics people. So they'll be throwing a lot of problem to us. So we can work on that. Okay, we can incorporate in the curriculum. We can focus on finding the solution for that. Okay, like that, there are opportunities are there. And the climate change and resource scarcity, that is also another another area which gives us life, I can say. And urbanization, digital transformation. These are the trending, which is in across the globe. So there, because of these kind of natures, we are getting more opportunity. And nothing is coming as free of cost. So wherever there's a business, then only we have a job. Okay, if there's no business, then whatever we are teaching, whatever we are doing, doesn't have any meaning. So in this scenario, how the business growth affect the semiconductor market. So this is one of the major slide I can say. So this is the more focused area, like energy efficiency. This is one of the area one can focus, and the major revenues are coming from the energy efficiency. One can focus on a solution for the energy efficiency, and the mobility, security, IoT, and big data. So these are the four major financial point of view. The growth, the market, semiconductor industries are earning, and they are focusing on any one of this sector, or otherwise in some cases all the sector. Like this is a slide taken from the Infineon Technology. So they are working on this all the four areas. But however, most of the industries, like if you take Intel, yes, definitely this four will be there. In addition to that, they may be focusing on some other thrust areas too. But I am summarizing the key areas alone here. Yeah. So any application can be linked into one among the four category. Look at the energy efficiency. You can see many examples, real-time examples, where we can, as researchers, we can contribute towards that. Like empowering the energy revolution. This is one of the area we can focus on that. So it leads power devices and subsystems for renewable and energy efficient transmission and storage, and turning the e-mobility into reality. So this is another area. We are talking about automotive vehicles, e-bikes, e-scooters. Yeah, this is another area where the microelectronics people can contribute more, and ensuring uninterruptible power supplies, optimizing performance of microcontrollers unit, and various semi-integrated devices, motor controllers, and advancing the future of light. Okay, so and focusing on the drivers. Okay, if any electrical engineers are there, they may not be interested in developing the architecture. Rather than they'll be focusing on on various drivers. Okay, so this is the other area one can focus on that. And yeah, mobility, this is another area. So if you look at the another trend, here we have a lot of examples like marketing mobility clean, the efficient semiconductor for electric drives and drivetrains and CO2 reductions. So many industries now they're focusing on this area, like metros, all those things that come into the picture. So how to reduce the CO2 again? Okay, so there are a lot of algorithms, a lot of manufacturing people are working on. So nowadays, okay, just pure electronics people cannot do anything as on day. So all are integrated one. They'll be working with electrical people, they'll be working with mechanical engineers, and coming with the solutions. So and making autonomous driving safe and reliable car. Okay, so this is another sector. Indian industries in general, I can say. So most of the Indian industries are focusing on this autonomous driving safe car, and directly or indirectly, huge number of manpower is required, and most of the industries are focusing on this one. And making mobility smart again. So there are a set of products with sensors and security ICs we can work. And coming to security perspective, again, it's a more generic term. So there are some hardware security, software security. So there are many things are there. Here I'm talking about hardware security. Not only the algorithm or even the architectures related to development of security. There are many standards are available. So one can work on various standards on security. And particularly if you look into the automotive electronics, there is a ISO 62626 standards are available. So there, if you just read the thousands of pages documents, you can get n number of solutions, n number of column from that particular standard itself. So one can take it from there and then try to develop the architecture that can be very much useful for the industry. And of course, this can be a very good project for the students. That's another area one can work on that. And yeah, of course, the entire world is talking about IoT and big data, machine learning, all those things. And yes, VLSI people also working on IoT and big data, because whatever algorithm they are developing, so finally they have to mature. Okay, they have been moved on VLSI. Okay, so IC design. So here, which includes implementing Industry 4. So smart cities, okay, driving hyper skills data centers, and enabling smart infrastructures for everywhere. Okay, the IoT and big data, we have to deal with the big data. So yes, there are very good opportunity for the medical electronics people to work in these domains. I'm just outlining the. So just mentioned automatic vehicle. If you look at the automatic vehicle, there are more than 250 CPUs are there within one. Okay, it's not like a mechanical engineer. It's a mostly electronics engineer. So majority of components are okay, like embedded system, which contains a number of sensors, controllers, and there are many processors involved. Okay, so it requires a lot of standards, lot of manpowers. Okay, so one can focus on this one. Like if you look at a digital radio, vehicle computer, navigation, and there is a separate log, smart log, and system drives train and control unit. There are so many things integrated into single car. There, we require a lot of understanding of designing this autonomous car, and various skilled people are required, and we have to live. It's not like simple microelectronics design. So we have to live. We have to take care of the human life involved. It's not like if some mobility, even some error is there, we can take care of. But here, a lot of security is also issues. So we should be very careful in designing this kind of things. This is one of the design challenges nowadays people are facing. That's why there are a lot of standards out there. We have to vigorously working on the domain so that we can meet all the standards. So people, those who are interested in working in the microelectronics domain, at least pick some of the areas here and start working on that, so that you will be getting a lot of great opportunity in the companies. And coming to the Indian style, that is a global one. Coming to Indian market, semiconductor market. So how far it is? In 2015, the statistics shows 14.5 billion business market was there, billion dollar. But whereas they expected that in 2020 there was a 29.4% of growth in the business. So they are predicting 52.58. So we have to wait whether we reached really the 52.58 or we are just above that. So wait for another few months. But my prediction is yes. We have surpassed this standard already. So what I'm trying to say here is yes, there's a huge business is there in the microelectronics field. So this is the reason why most of the top semiconductor companies are coming towards India, and they are starting their own company in they're starting their branches in Bangalore, Noida, Hyderabad, in all the cities. Why this much of tremendous growth is there? Compared to the earlier year. So within 5 years, the growth rate is like increased like 30%. So the reason. So there are a lot of reasons for the growth of semiconductor industries in India. The major things are like we have potential people out there. Export potentials are available, and also in global scenario, the chip design industries grows like anything, and increased semiconductor content in the electronics and allied industries. Which I shown in the earlier slide. Not only the automotive electronics. In almost all the sector, if you name any sector, there is a role of microelectronics people. So all are integrated into chip. Millions of components are integrated earlier. Now we are talking about billions of components are integrated into the single chip. And not necessarily all chips are, all the IPs or all the modules are taken from the same company. So there are many vendors are involved. So in designing some small modules, and we have to integrate everything. And that is a challenging one. We will see all those challenges quickly. Yes. So because of that, now if you look at the semiconductor industries in India, so top 10 fabless design companies are located in India. What is fabless? We don't have any fab. Fab facilities are not available, as you know. Commercial fab facilities are not available in India, though there are few fabs are available. One is their semiconductor limited in Chandigarh, and Hyderabad GATEC semiconductor. So other than that, there's no semiconductor industries available in India. Fabs are available in India, but there are so many fabless. That means so up to GDS2, the A to Z, everything they can do. The only thing is finally that will be sent into the foundry, which is located in the various parts of world, and get it fabricated. But the top 10 fabless companies are located in India. And 19 out of top 20 semiconductor industries are having offices in India, and they're functioning either from Bangalore, Hyderabad, and some are from Noida, which shows how much importance we have. Like 19 out of 25 industries. This is the statistics I have taken a few months before. The 19 may become 20, I'm not sure. But so this shows that yes, but only thing we have to develop the people. We have to have the skilled people to supply to supply the demand. Okay, and the reality is, as of now, the reality is they want the people, they want a huge number of people, but unfortunately they are not getting skilled students from Indian education institution. This is what I heard with many companies. And other than the 19 top industries, there are some 125 plus IC design companies and 500 plus embedded companies, and there are thousands of startups are available. They'll be working with top companies, and they'll do some small IP developments. So they're hiring the BTech students, okay, MTech students. Okay. So they'll be training for 2 to 3 months and then assigning the job. Even though it's a startup company, all the projects are from top companies. They'll be working for the top MNC companies. And another important thing why semi-integrated industries are for targeting India is because strong academia. So in terms of numbers, I'm talking about. We have more than 600 universities are there. Okay, thousands of in Tamil Nadu it's more than 500 engineering institutions are there, and more than that, the cost is another factor on which India attracts the semi companies. So we compared to any other industry, any other country, low operation cost is there in India. So because of that, most of the companies are trying to open their office in India. So which is a good, this is a very good news for us as an academician. So we can contribute something to the industry. And so far, if you have any questions, you can give it in the chat box. So I will be able to answer. Maybe you can keep on posting the questions on the chat box. So in the meantime, mentors from college, so they'll be questions to me. So yes, ma'am, please.
One question.
Yes.
One question is there. Whether these VLSI companies are accepting MSc electronic students.
Yeah.
Whatever you discussed so
yes,
far.
ma'am. They are not bothered about whether it's a BE or ME or MSc. So what they require is the skill. Whether the students have the skill. So yes, but again, not all. Yeah, they are accepting. But initially they cannot enter into all the top companies like MNC, 19 listed. But still, there are many startup companies are there. So through them, they will observe it. They won't. So we have to enter the startup company. They'll be working on the like if say Intel. Intel they won't take directly the MSc student. What they'll do is they used to work with many startup companies, and once they come to know that yes, this is the skilled person I want, they'll simply offer the job. Okay. This is the thing.
Yeah. Sir, please one more question, sir.
Yes, sir.
Say difference between fabless and IC design companies.
Yes, sir. Yeah. IC design, okay, sir. Just a design. Okay. So not the complete flow won't be available. So starting from the design to final GDS2 won't be there. So they'll be working on either front end or back end, or they'll be working on the DFT. So likewise, but fabless is like a IP developers. Okay, they'll be mostly working on the IPs. So they'll be developing the IPs, and only thing is they will not fabricate it. Okay, but before fabrication, they'll be selling the IPs to the design people. So design people take this IP, integrate it into their system, and finally they'll make this product. So fabric is like ready to cook. Okay, I can say. So one is cooked, one is ready to cook. It's ready to cook. Fabric is ready to cook kind of things.
Okay, fine, sir. There is one more question posted.
One more.
What type of a skill set should we develop, sir, for getting the career from IC companies?
I think I yet to cover the slides. Maybe after that I can take this question. Please,
Fine,
no?
fine, sir. Fine. Thank you, sir.
Definitely I'll answer this question. I'll take it. Yeah. Is there any other questions, sir?
Yes,
Yes,
one
ma'am.
more. Is there any other new EDA tool other than now available one that is Cadence?
Okay. I think I can cover the slides. I have a slide. Okay.
Okay.
So I will cover that.
Okay.
So during the time, okay, I'll talk. If you have any questions related to that, please, I'll answer to that.
Okay.
There are
Then you can
many
continue.
ED tools available. I'll just list out the top ED tools soon, and thereafter, if anything is there, yeah, definitely I'll answer that. Yeah. Shall I proceed, ma'am?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, fine.
Yes, sir. You can proceed.
Fine. Thank you. So thank you. So we keep on post the questions. So in between, I can able to answer. So this is the typical VLC design flow. So everyone of you are aware of this design flow is nothing new to you. Just I'll take very few, 1 or 2 minutes to just outline the major steps. If anybody who wants to do so develop the system, they must have some idea. Okay, what the system is supposed to work, and okay, so they may have a lot of R&D. They may have done a lot of R&Ds. Okay, so where it should be located and what should be the power supply. Okay, so what about the speed of operation of the system, and whether it should be cost effective. Okay, so there's a lot of ideas they may have. They may not have the skilled people, but they might have the idea. Okay, so the idea should be transferred into the specifications. I can just use the pointer. Yeah. Yes. So they may have they have to convert their idea into specifications, like a kind of pseudocodes, which the electrical engineers or the designer can able to understand. Okay, like a pseudocodes. Okay, major steps involved, and by reading that one as a design team, they can develop the architecture based on their skill set, what they acquired through their curriculum or during their experience. They'll be developing the architecture, and the architecture will be converted into RTL coding. So there are many RTL codings available, like VHDL, Verilog, System Verilog. Okay, so like that, various hardware description languages are available. So nowadays, VHDL, I don't think any industries are using VHDL. Even the curriculum also, I just assume like most of the industries, so most of the education institutions, they removed the VHDL from the curriculum. They started teaching Verilog alone. And again, there are universities, they started teaching System Verilog and System C as a part of the curriculum. So they can use any hardware description language to describe the architecture. Once, they discuss the architecture, so they can verify the functionality with the help of many simulations tool which is available. And that's what we call as verification. Once that is done, okay, that will be synthesized. So high-level description language will convert into low-level description language. So what I can say is it's a get level netlist. So get level netlist is that again that will be given to backend tool. I'm not covering entire VLC design flow, which is beyond the scope of this lecture. But however, if any specific questions are there in the physical design or in the design flow, I'll be able to answer. Okay. The interest of time, I'm skipping the in-depth flow here. And okay. So finally, you'll be getting the GDS2 file, Gerber data stream design format file. That is a file given to the foundry. Basically, GDS file is nothing but the text file of your layout, whatever layout you are obtaining from the tool. That will be given to the foundry people. Based on the Gerber file, they will prepare the mask, and they have a lot of fabrication steps. So finally, they'll fabricate the AC. So then on the fabricated AC will be tested for the correctness or any defectness. If defect-free ICs are separated, then that will be okay, packaged. So now finally we'll be getting an IC chip. So this is the typical flow starting from the idea to final one. But even though it looks like a very simple, each and every step, like if you look at from spec to design architecture, there are a lot of steps are involved, a lot of iterations are involved. Converting architecture into RTL code, again, it's not like easy job. So there are a lot of skill sets are required. An RTL code to RTL verification, yes, how to verify the design. It's not like, okay, if you want to test, if you want to verify the functionality of AFADER, so what we used to do, so we have to pass all possible combinations of input, and we know the expected output, so we're verifying the design. But now think about the complex IC. So we have to deal with many IPs. Okay, each IP may have a number of components, and each IP may be from different vendors. Okay, so, validating the IP itself is a challenging task. Now integrating many IPs into the single system, so we have to have the verification plan. So this is another separate domain. One can focus on that. So for that, in addition to the Verilog, there are language which support the verification, because Verilog is very good for describing the design, whereas for verification concept, yes, there are some limitations in the Verilog. So up to functional verification, yes, Verilog is good. But if you go for system level verification, again, the Verilog may not be sufficient. So we require some additional language. So it may be a combination of Verilog and C. We call it system C. Languages, system Verilog, system C. Yeah, these are the languages will be useful. So I can cover somewhere in the skill set, the future slide. And again, for just for better understanding, I'm just repeating the same design flow once again here. Yeah, spec will be converted into high-level description. High-level description is described with the help of RTL. Okay, how to describe language, we can describe the functionality. Then that will be converted into gate-level design. In between, there are a number of steps are there. So converting RTL into the generic Boolean expression. Again, we are not going to do anything manually here. From here to here, we are not going to do anything manual. So all those things we are going to use that tool. So only thing is we have to give the proper constraints. So whether we are looking for the power constraint design, energy efficient design, high speed design, or trade-off between these two, whether I want to use specifically this kind of cells, or I don't want to use these cells, right? So we can do all the constraints here. So okay, we can do the synthesis. So finally, the RTL will be converted into get-level netlist. For better understanding, the get-level netlist is nothing but the gate, logic gate, circuit diagram with the logic gates. We'll be getting this one. This is basically a technology-dependent netlist. Technology-dependent netlist. So just a minute, skip the meeting. Okay. So we can get the netlist here. So the netlist is technology dependent. So normally the standard cells are given, standard cells are obtained from the third party or foundry people used to provide the technology file. So that we can get the get netlist. Then yeah, the front end is over. Now we can go to the back end. So front end is up to logic gate everything is over. Now we have to go to the back end. There we are all talking about layers. Okay, different layers. How to place this cell, how to route the cells. Okay, how to provide the integration between the cells, how to provide the integration between the module, how to provide the clock. Okay, so all those things are coming to the place and route design. Again, the place and route, there's some manual things happening. So place and route is entirely automated. Therefore, EDA tools we can do the task. So again, there are a lot of intermediate steps are involved. In time permits, I can show a few steps here. And once everything's are done, then we can go to fabrication, and then that will be packaged. Final chip will be obtained here. And coming to the digital IC is concerned, again, there are two major domains. You can see one is ASIC flow, another one is FPGA flow. So FPGA flow, almost everybody is familiar with this one. Up to front end, everything's the same. Like we have to develop the this up to that. Everything's the same. From here to spec, high level description, functional description. So up to that, everything's the same. Then while selecting the domain, like whether you want to go for ASIC design or FPGA, accordingly you can decide. So if it is FPGA, then you have to decide whether we're targeting Xilinx FPGA or Ultra FPGA or Actel FPGA, and within the FPGA, what is the family and which device want to do that target, and do the placement of, finally download the data into the FPGA and see, just see to that, yes, your IC is working what you intended for. Okay. So this is the typical FPGA flow. So most of the education institutions are having this facility, and either they may be having the FPGA Xilinx kit or otherwise Ultra. Now it is a part of Intel. Okay, Ultra is no more it's available. So this company was acquired by Intel. So now we call it Intel FPGA. And coming to ASIC, it's application specific integrated circuits. So instead of fabricating, instead of dumping the file into the reprogrammable IC, we're going to fabricate our own IC according to our applications. So this is the ASIC flow mean for, and most of the ICs comes under here. And most of the embedded applications are targeting FPGA, whereas most of the other applications like application specific integrated circuit, like one which is used in the mobility or one which is used in the various applications comes under ASIC. And whether you are targeting FPGA domain or ASIC, so we have to meet certain requirements. Okay. So we have to make sure that how about the complexity, how to minimize the complexity of the design, no matter whether you are targeting FPGA or ASIC, and make sure that the IC final IC is compact in size, better performance in terms of speed, in terms of power. Okay, that is reducing our low power, and we have to make sure that if it's like ASIC, then we have to make sure that once IC is fabricated, I should be able to segregate whether the IC is defect free or defective one. For that, this is one of the emerging area I could say, even though the DFT is not a new terminology in academia, but in the recent 5-6 years, the DFT getting a lot of attraction in industry, and they wanted more number of skilled people in this domain. But very unfortunate to say that they are not getting enough people in this domain. Okay, of course they managed to get the skilled people from RTL side and verification side, but DFT and backend they are not getting enough people as on today. They wanted of 10 people, they don't get even the 10 people. It is applicable to even our institution also. First, nowadays we are focusing on DFT also. Okay, I will come to that slide later, and we'll discuss more about DFT. And the cost perspective, how cost effective our design is, and time to market is another domain, another factor which decides the requirement. So if you look at the earliest 2-3 years before and all, if you start to a design now, to mature the design it may take 6 months to 8 months or even 1 year. But now it's not like that. Okay, within every 2 months or every 3 months, okay, the new products are coming, and the thing is, suppose if you entering to the Qualcomm or something, they'll be taking the project in the month of June, and they want to release the product in the month of August or September. So that means starting from the concept to the fabrication, they're giving only 2 months. Okay, so just think about, and we have to deal with millions of components, but to complete the flow from starting from idea to final fabrication. And because how much pressure, okay, one has to have. There are many teams out there, so we have to tackle the pressure. So that's why I'm keeping this slide like time to market. Pressure is always there. It's not okay, but it's not like individual task. Many people are involved, so one can survive. It's not a problem. Yes. And another challenge is what the design people will face is they have to deal with millions of components, but millions of components are available as a various building blocks. Each building blocks are coming from different vendors, and they have to integrate it. So if you start designing, even that you might have experienced in even the lab itself. If you start designing your own, okay, you can do verification. But if some simply code is available to you, let's say some vanilla code is shared with you, I can ask you to verify the design. So you may be facing the difficulty. Okay, but first of all, you have to understand what kind of coding style they followed, Okay. So how to verify, how to prepare the verification plan, what are the inputs, what are the outputs, how they name it. So you have to understand the design in others' perspective, because you are the owner of the design. So similar manner, there are a number of modules which are obtained from the various people and vendors also from not from the same company. So we have to understand all these things and we prepare the plan. We have to integrate it, prepare the verification plan, prepare the DFT plan, prepare the floor planning, placement, routing, clock tree synthesis. Okay, so this is the difficult task, and again we have to handle the various EDA tools to achieve the task. So these are some of the challenges each and every designers and researchers will face. So we have to adhere to those. Industry, some of you posted the question. Yes. In addition to the common skills like communication skills, yes, they may expect some sort of programming skill. Programming in the sense not necessarily a C++. In VLSI scenario, it says Verilog, system Verilog, or system C. C, C++, if you are familiar with C, C++, there's no doubt. And some scripting language. This is one of the major thing where they're not getting enough people. Okay, they know how to write the program, how to write the Verilog SDL for the given design, but as you know, if you look at the flow, design flow, okay, after simulation, after verification, everything's a tool. We are depending on the tool, okay, and tool also not necessarily the same vendor, okay, we may be using. For synthesis, we may be using Cadence tool. Okay. For DFT, we may use Mentor. For physical design, we may use Cadence tool again, or otherwise is Synopsys. So even the EDA tools, we have to use different EDA tools. So we cannot go on click and join button. It's not possible. Okay. So what I do, we have to automate the procedure. Okay. First, take the design from this vendor. Okay, take design from this folder and do the compilation here and say the result here. Okay, if result is this one, analyze the result. So all these things should be commented. Okay, you have to give comment and you have to prepare all those things. Okay, like various steps in what you're supposed to do. So should be communicated to the tool through. That is called tool command language, simply called as TCL. So all together we simply called as scripting language. So instead of using GUI, okay. So normally we are using people those are using Xilinx tool. So am I audible? Fine. So
Sir, yes, sir, audible, sir.
yeah, fine. Because
Someone, I think so.
Okay. Yeah. So if you take the design flow, then mostly we are using the GUI. Okay, like if you want to include a file, what you can do is just go to the file and create a new file, and there you are typing the program. Okay, and we are saving into some directory. And if you want to simulate it, again we are going selecting. So like that, we are doing all these things one by one manner. Okay, the clicking and then selecting and saving the file. But coming to the various design flow is concerned, we have to do a lot of this kind of things. So it is very difficult for us to do one by one. So all this procedure, what we are supposed to do, should be written in the form of script. Okay, so that some scripting language skills are okay. That's what I kept here as a programming skill. So not necessarily software programming. So SDLs as well as some sort of scripting languages. Okay, is okay. And of course, the key thing is engineering concepts. Okay, engineering concepts. What I mean here is, if you want to do, if you want to excel in the digital design, VLSI engineers, then you have to start your skill from digital logic design. Okay, you should be thorough in digital logic design. And even if you're as a professor teaching digital logic design course as a course to a student, please make sure that you are not spending enough time with the first 2 units. Okay, I know the first 2 units are like number system on codes, and second unit is Karnaugh map. Okay, and I interact with many people in various forums. Most of the time, till first 2 months or something, people used to teach only the number systems, conversion of Boolean to Boolean number system, binary to decimal, decimal to binary, okay, or octal to binary, binary to octal, like that, and ASCII codes, FCD codes, and only these kind of things they are focusing first few weeks, and later almost a month they used to spend on the minimization of Boolean expressions with the help of equations, various Boolean laws, and K-maps and Q methods. But please remember that, yes, these things are essential. Well, all these things are essential, one cannot neglect, but this can be covered within maximum of 3 to 5 classes. Don't take the K-maps, all these things, more than 2 or 3 classes. Okay, straight away just start teaching the design skills. Okay, so how these Boolean expressions are useful in designing or developing the circuits, how to analyze the circuits. Okay, and if you say Mux, okay, instead of saying that this is the diagram for the Mux, you just convey like what is Mux it is. Okay, how it selects the data, which is the control unit, which is the priority, which is having the high priority. So you just explain everything orally. Okay, so like an algorithmic way, you explain each and every concepts. Then ask the students to write the pseudocode in terms like if select is 1. No need to teach any language now. Ask them to write the pseudocode. Okay, if select equal to 1, what about the output? If select equal to 0, what about output? Okay, likewise, try to teach it. Now, introduce the Verilog HDL here. Okay, starting with the behavioral description. Okay, and as the people now, pseudocode can be described with the help of Verilog HDL, and ask them to synthesize, so they will see how the circuit looks like. Okay, now if you teach the Mux, okay, how to construct the Mux using various gates and all these things, they can easily remember and they never forget in their lifetime. And particularly coming to the sequential circuit is concerned, yeah, one has to teach like what is the difference between flop and latch. So any student, those entering into the VLSI domain, definitely they'll get this question. So what is the difference between latch and flip-flop, and how to design the clock divider? Okay, how to design the counter. So like different kind of experiments can be given to the UG and PG student, so that if they are thorough in designing the combination circuits and sequence circuit and some extent FSM. Okay, if you are good in this one, this is more than enough. Even if they are not familiar with the programming, still people are ready to acquire, but they are too strong in engineering concepts. And some then once the digital logic design is over, then CMOS VLSI design. Okay, you can refer any books, doesn't matter. Yes, they are too familiar with what is CMOS all about, how the what are the advantages of CMOS, what are the fabrication flow. Okay, and those things are enough. Yeah, the engineering concept is concerned. I'm talking about UG curriculum, UG students' perspective. And other than that, some technology and domain knowledge. Okay, if they are going to verification engineer, then they know how to write the test bench for the given design, how to describe the design using Verilog HDL or system Verilog or system C. Okay, some tool knowledge. Okay, no matter whether the campus is having Cadence tool or Synopsys tool or Mentor tool, even they don't have any tool also, doesn't matter. Okay, so only thing is there's no the each and every steps involved in various category. It's more than enough. Okay. And these are the various job opportunities they'll be getting. So this is a flow. So like one can one with the PhD or something, they'll put in the first domain, like R&D domain. So R&D people will be working on specification, creating the specification. This is challenging one, even though it seems to be simple, but they require a lot of skills. They have all the skills are required. So probably people with a vast experience or with a PhD. So they'll be putting in the R&D domain, like specifications. And like UG students will be putting in this domain. Okay, they'll be comes under design and functional verification, artificial. They may not have exposure on various physical design, that is web backend. So they may be put considered for the 2 and 3, design entry, functional verification, artificial synthesis domain. And after few years, after few months, after few years, based on this upgrading skill, they may put in any of the domain. But if the students are from master background, okay, with the knowledge of DFT or physical design, and they may be put in the any one of the domain from 4 to 11. Okay, these are only the major steps. Okay, I'm relating this one with the various design flow. So yeah, so they may be adapted in any of this domain. And here the DFT domain is even though it's part of various design flow, till now most of the education institutions not giving focus on this one. Okay, either they'll be focusing on teaching Verilog SDL and FPGA, they'll go up to FPGA design flow, or they may teach ASIC design, okay, starting from Verilog SDL, synthesis, and once the Get is available, straight away they'll go for physical design. So they used to ignore the DFT, but now DFT getting a lot of attention. That is mainly due to automobile industry. We have to thank the automobile industry. Because of that, well, because automobile industry, even one failed chip, 1% failed chip may cause a lot of damages. Okay, so that's why a lot of importance are given nowadays. So yes, DFT, if people with the DFT skill get a lot of job opportunity. So I think now I can take few questions if any questions are there, ma'am. Before going to the opportunities, I can take 1 or 2 questions now.
Yes, sir. Can you explain what is bonding pads?
But ma'am?
What is bonding pads?
Oh, bonding pads. Okay. So this is something like okay. So now while going to the backend, okay, backend. So we'll be having the output pins. We'll be having output pins. It's a part of the core. But while going for packaging, okay, we'll going for packaging. So we have to connect the pin of core with the external pin. So for that, okay, we have to have the pads. We have to have the pads. So that pad called bonding pads.
Sir, one more question.
And
Sir.
one more.
How can I choose a research papers or research topics in VLSI domain?
Yeah.
Which one is the best to do research? Either digital circuit or analog circuit? Kindly give some suggestion.
Sure. Yeah. The best thing is, yes, Google. Okay, as you know, you can get everything. But Google. If you just which domain you want to get the paper, if you just type it on Google, you'll get the major thing. But the reliable sources, yes, if you have to go to the journals, particularly those are the starting of research. Better to focus on the quality journals. If it's IEEE, okay, there are journals are available. IEEE transaction on various design, IEEE transaction on circuit systems 1 and 2. Okay, if you look at electrical journals, microelectronics, integration journals are available. So from Springer, circuit systems and signal processing journals are available. Like that, when journals are available, you go to the journals website and do the search with the keywords. Okay, you'll get a lot of recent papers. You collect the papers, go to the domain, and okay, you do some latest survey. This is one way. Another thing is, you have to attend. Okay, the best thing is, I can say, you have to attend the key conferences happening in India. Okay, I'm not talking about the conferences organized by various engineering colleges nearby. Yeah, that's also one of the area. But the real picture, particularly those who are early career researchers or faculty member entering into the VLSI domain or wanted of hunting for the problems. The best thing is they have to participate in the key conferences. I wrote a letter. Maybe I'll read it now. One is the VLSI Design Conference. Every year, first week of January, it used to happen. Okay, most of the time it used to happen in India. So almost all the segmented company people are attending in that. So you can meet thousands of people. Okay, in various domain from all the top institutions like IITs, NITs, and the central institutions, and with the key from all across the world also participating in that, and more than 60 to 70 company people are participating. So there you can have a chance to meet the people, and they'll be presenting their topic in terms of keynotes or invented talk or regular paper. So that is a best job. Okay, even I too. Okay, gather all the information from there. Okay. So that is one thing. Another thing is if you miss that one, then we'll listen and test the workshop every year, sometime in the July and August. It is to happen again across the India. Okay, every year they'll be held in the different parts of the country. And this year it is happening in the IIT Bhubaneswar. Okay, last year it happened in Dhyaraj Institute of Technology from Madurai. So like every year they'll be rotating. That's another thing. So I'll show that one. And for academician, they're giving also. Okay, because they may not afford to fee, so they'll be giving the fee, fellowship. Through fellowship, they'll be waiving the registration fee. They'll be giving the travel support. Okay, support, and they'll be giving free accommodation also. So through that, they can attend all the 5-day session. You can interact with the foreign people. You can interact with the industry people. You can interact with the various professors across India. And okay, this is one of the easiest way. And if you have Scopus license, okay, scopus.com, there you can do the Google search in the domain. Yes, do that. And coming to the question like analog or digital, so one cannot say analog is always best or digital is always best. So it depends on what kind of interest they have. Okay, relatively, 80%, more than 80% of people in the India, across the world, they're working on digital, and 10 to 15% are working in analog. So based on interest, they can do choose the domain. Yes. Yeah.
So there is one more question, sir.
Yes, sir.
Sir, which one is highly preferred for designing application, either FPGA design flow or ASIC design flow?
There's no resolution, sir. The thing is depends on the tool availability.
Yes, sir.
Suppose if you may be interested in doing ASIC design, but if your institution don't have any ASIC design tools, because none of the ASIC design tools are available free of cost. Okay, none of the commercial ASIC design tools are available free of cost. But whereas FPGA tools are available, even if the institution not having also, one can easily download the FPGA tool. And even for academic institution, many like FPGA vendors are providing the FPGA kit itself free of cost. Okay, they'll be posting. One thing under university program, you go to the Xilinx.com. There's a university program. If you just simply give some fill the some form, okay, they will be sending the FPGA kit also. So in that scenario, yes, FPGA is okay. But if you have the tools like Cadence or Metagraphics or Synopsys tool, yes, one can focus on ASIC design.
One more question.
Sir. Okay, proceed, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Can we apply nanotechnology while designing IC?
I'm not getting. Please repeat, ma'am. Nanotechnology.
Can, can you apply nanotechnology while designing IC and also suggest some nanotechnology software simulation tools?
Yeah, there's no separate nanotechnology. Micro, nano, okay, just the dimensions is the major thing. Like, okay, if it, okay, nanotechnology, what I mean, okay, I'm not getting the question, but I'll pursue in this way. So, I think the again is talking about the device level. Okay, nano here, what you mean for nano means device level physics. Okay, normally people are working on circuit level or architecture level or system level, whereas nanotechnology people will be working at the device level. They'll be working on how to design the new transistor, how to design the new layers like okay, those kind of things. So yes, okay, these two okay, like this is the lower end of the VLSI. Okay, nanotechnology lower end of VLSI. So they'll be working on like how to design a FinFET. Okay. Then once the FinFET is materialized, then the VLSI people will use instead of NMOS, they'll be using FinFET for that. That's it. So, yes, there are tools available for the nanotechnology, particularly from Synopsys, TCAD, and Syntrust. These are the tools are available, but it's not available free of cost. But there are some tools from University of Berkeley. Simulation tools are available with the libraries. So if you are researchers, yes, you can go to the University of Berkeley. There, yes, some simulation tools are available with the modeling, with the library. One can do that. But commercial tool means Synopsys TCAD is the best tool.
Can you explain what is IP core?
Yeah, IP core this is something like let's say I want to design a system. Okay, yet my design requires some FFT processor. Let's say FFT processor. So one thing is, yes, I can design my the FFT on my own with my own team, or otherwise. So I have limited set of resources, or I want to do the design okay within 2 months or something. In that case, I have to know that there are some set of people they already worked on that's FFT. So I can take those FFT as it is. Okay, I can customize. Okay. They have some IP design. They have the design validated, verified, okay, pre-validated, pre-verified. Okay, so that I can take it as it is. Okay, but only thing is I can customize according to my needs. So that's IP. IP is so it's not a complete design. It's one block. Okay, some block. Okay, some block. Okay, that is designed by some people. But the thing is, internal parts or internal codes, internal details won't be shared with the team because that is intellectual property of that particular company. Okay, they will send the complete code. Okay, all those internal things are hidden, but they'll be sharing the block to the design team with interface data alone. So, designer can take the IP code and do some customization. Like, okay, all the pins may not be useful for them, all the features may not be useful for them. So they take that and put it in the design. IP code is generic design. The generic.
One more, sir. Is there any free software available for VLSI design practicals? Is there any free software available for VLSI design practicals?
Okay, there are many tools available, but if you want to come to design flow, starting from specific spec to final GDS, there's no complete tools available, but Alliance is one of the tool. Alliance tools, which is available. Okay, there you can start writing your SDL to final GDS too. You can do, but all the features available in the commercial tools are not available there. That's one thing. Another thing is you may not get or user manual or any tutorial support to help you. So all this you have to learn from the scratch. It's like an open source. It's a kind of open source. So if you want to contribute, you can contribute. But you will not get the complete help. Okay, that's one of the challenges. But again, yeah, Alliance Easy tools available. Yeah, we can do that. This is for I'm talking about ASIC is concerned. As far as the FEG is concerned, yes, both Xilinx FEG and Alta FEG are available for the educational institution free of cost. Even the subscription edition, the full editions are available for the professors. Okay. And demo versions are available for the students. Okay. That's one thing. But other than that, yeah, I'm not remembering. Recently, yeah, it was launched in last year ITC conference, 1 year before. But again, it's not full-fledged tool set. They're also on the development stage. Soon it may be available. Okay, it's open source tool. Setup team are involved in that. Yeah, it's under development. But I don't know. I don't have full details as of now. Maybe I'll share the details later. Yes, madam. Proceed.
Hello.
Yes, madam.
One more.
Yes.
What is connectivity between VLSI, SOC and MOC?
No, all I cannot say. Okay, so all are different area. Okay, so VLSI is one of terminology. That's all. VLSI is one of the terminology. Okay, any design with more than thousands of components are called as VLSI. VLSI is just a scale. Okay, so SOC is a system on chip. Like as I mentioned, many systems are integrated in single tiny chips are called as system on chip. Okay, network. This is based on the applications. We're saying the network concept. Network concept is something related to network applications. That's it. So one cannot say that VLSI is different, SOC is different. It is also part of VLSI. NOC part of VLSI. There are also more than thousands of components integrated. So SOC means there are many IPs, maybe from the same vendor or different vendors. Okay, all are integrated, and in addition to that, okay, we may add some customized design, and finally we'll make the product. That's it.
So one more. Hello.
Yes, ma'am.
If DFT is our main concern, how should we enhance our skills towards it?
I'm negative. DSP is main concern.
DFT, yes, DFT is our main concern. How should we enhance our skills towards it?
DFT, you mean for design for testability, right, ma'am?
Yeah.
Yeah, fine. So yes, DFT, as just now mentioned. So one of the emerging, I cannot say it's emerging area. It has been there for more than 20 years. But the recent year it get a lot of attractions. Okay, that's what. So if you want to excel in DFT, one must know. Okay, one must be thorough about the digital logic design. That's one thing, and they have some tool knowledge. Okay, like what is fault modeling, what is defect. Okay, so like they have some tool knowledge. Maybe from either mentor. There's a tool called Tessent. Okay, from Snapsys, the DFT compiler is available from Mentor, and from Cadence, Modest tool is available. So any another tool you can use. Okay, so start studying the book like LT Wang. Illicit test architecture principle by LT Wang. This is one of the textbook. Another book is Essential of Electronic Testing by Bushnell Agarwal. So go through any one of the book, try to understand defect, what is fault. So those things you have to understand. Then how the faults are modeled, that you have to understand. Then to start doing some small programming. Start index the fault. How to just understanding is mandatory. Okay. For understanding the purpose, even if your composite tools are not available, you can start learning the concept through some small free tools are available. Maybe I can share the link as of now in the slide I have included. Maybe after the talk, I'll share the link to the organizer. Okay, ma'am, I'll share the link to you. You can share with the participants. So, how to do the fault modeling? How to understand the built-in self-test? Okay, how well as a part of synthesis, how to include the condition related to DFT. So, those concepts can be integrated into excellent to that. And another thing is every year, the month of July, there's a conference called Industrial Test Conference. So it's especially for testing people. Okay, so testing people that want to do testing as a career, like those are teaching the testing course, those want to do PhD in testing, or those who want to enter the testing domain can attend the conference. There you will be exposed to all the options, even industry side, what they can provide to the people. Okay, those kind of things also will be discussed. So anyway, I'll share the link in the course of time. And I think we have limited time. So
Okay. Sir, whether you are continuing the session or shall I?
Continue session, maybe another few, I think 3 or 4.
Okay. Okay, sir. You continue the session, sir.
I think this is the question we used to get from many education institutions. Even the last ITC also, we have organized a session called Industry Institute Interaction Forum. There, one professor from Normal Engineering College asked, okay, why you semiconductor people always recruit the people from IITs and NITs? Why you are not coming to our institute? Okay, this is the question they asked. Okay, yes, of course. Even few years before, I too had the same questions. Okay, when I joined VIT, I too got the same questions. Okay, that time VIT was not part of the Intel list or any top level MNC core companies list. The reason was, okay, the reason what they is, yes, we are not coming to engineering colleges or normal engineering colleges for recruiting. One reason is we don't want the huge number of people. Okay, they need only select a limited number of people, like unlike software people. Software means they recruit thousands of at a time, 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 people they can recruit. Whereas a hardware company, they want 50 or 70 or 100 people once in a year. More than 100 people or 150 people is more than enough per year. And another thing is, most of the institutions may not have the sophisticated VLSI tools, commercial tools like Cadence, Metagraphics, or Snapseed. Not necessarily all the tools, at least any one of the tools they must have, but most of the institutions may not have the tools, or otherwise they may have the tool, but they don't have the professors to teach the tool to the students. Okay, these are some of the answers they got it. Okay, then yes, they may teach the Verilog SDL or something, but they never had a hands-on experience with the FPGA kit. Okay, if at all FPGA kits are there, it was given only for the experiments, like how to implement half adder, full adder, so limited to the limited purpose only they are teaching. So what they want is, if you have any, even the basic level FPGA kit, doesn't matter at all. Doesn't matter. You do not have any industrial standard problem solving skills are not required. Even if you have very basic level FPGA kit, fine. Okay, you just get some small interfaces and develop some application. Develop some, not necessarily innovative application, small application. Develop that application. You should have hands-on experience on the FPGA kit or any commercial tools experts should have, and some experience on CAD tools. If you have this tool, if you have this kind of skill, we don't need any reservation in coming to your institution. This is what they replied. And I personally experienced the same thing. Yes, I contacted the many people some 12, 13 years before. I got the same answer. Then I started implementing this scenario in the VIT. Now, for your kind of information, for the MTech VLSI, okay, every year we are recruiting 120 students for MTech VLSI. Almost all 120 people are recruited by top MNC, okay, core company alone. Okay, so this happens because okay, we have to equip ourselves. That's it, nothing else. And yes, what kind of skills they are expecting means, yes, of course, the students should have strong knowledge on digital electronics. Okay, digital electronics means not like Boolean algebra and number system. This was real hardware experience on designing hardware complex circuits, this sequence circuit, and some sort of FSM. More than enough. No need to think about anything high level. Okay. Whatever they learn in the curriculum, they should learn thoroughly. More than enough. For the beginners, they won't ask any complex questions like they won't ask people to design some complex design. No, they'll be giving some very small fundamental questions alone in the beginner level. So that's one thing, and some fundamental knowledge on any languages. Okay, either VHDL or VLSDL. So let's say VLSDL is not part of the curriculum, only VHDL is known to them. Fine, no issue. Okay, though industries they are not using VLSDL, just because the students know only VHDL, they won't reject it. Okay, fine. But whatever language they are saying, they should have some skill. Okay, they may throw some question, the small design hints they will do. So the students should be able to describe using VHDL. Fine. Okay. What they conclude is, yes, this guy has the VHDL knowledge. So whatever we are conveying, so they could be able to describe it. So it is worth to consider this candidate. If you train these people for a month or 2 months, definitely this will be utilized for the commercial project. So like that, they will get an impression. So okay, this was some knowledge on VHDL, regular function simulation or logic synthesis. And if it is a MTech level student, yes, there's just some system Verilog and verification methodology is a must. Why? Because the expectation also more, and in VLSI, majority of jobs are comes under verification domain. Okay, even though there are DFT, physical design, and domains are there, analog domain, all those things are there. Majority of jobs are comes under verification. So knowledge on the system Verilog verification is added advantages. And as just now I mentioned, like some scripting languages possibly. Okay, if it is part of the curriculum, well and good. If not, there are a lot of domains nowadays available. Even the Coursera nowadays offering in this COVID-19 pandemic situation, all the Coursera courses are free. Okay, freely available for all the educational institutions. If your education institution is not utilizing the opportunity, okay, one can contact the Coursera. There's a link is available. Subscribe to the Coursera so that with the institutional login ID, one can take any course which is available in the Coursera, okay, free of cost. Okay, so there are a number of like Perl, technical language courses available, even some basic Verilog HDL embedded system course available. You use this opportunity to learn 1 or 2 courses. It will give clear picture about what is required by the industry. That's one thing. And some aspects of basic CMOS VLSI design, some tool knowledge on physical verification flow, layout skills are here, but not mandatory. Again, not mandatory. But if it is available, then fine. And if you're looking for analog domain, yes, you should have some fundamental knowledge on analog circuit modeling and some APAM design. These things are essential. And particularly for the freshers, okay, if students are from BE, BTech, they will be considered for the FPGA-based system design because they might have undergone only 1 or 2 courses in the VLSI. Like one is digital logic design, another is VLSI design. So they believe that yes, these students will be best utilized for FPGA design. Okay, that's one thing. And yes, if they want to, there are some students with a computer science background, okay, or electrical background or electronics background. They are not good in HDL, but they have very good knowledge on C++. yes, still they can be considered for the VLSI domain industry. If they are good in C or C++ or some scripting, then they will be utilized by the EDA companies like Cadence, Metagraphics, Synopsys. Even there are many, even Intel, they have their own, they are using their own tools, okay, for all the flow. So they'll be hired for the purpose of developing their tools, okay. So still they have job, even they don't have any Verilog VCL background. With the help of the software language, yes, they can enter into the VLSI domain. And yeah, there are openings in the design engineers and verification engineers domain. So I'm just, in the interest of time, I just start skipping, which you can easily download anywhere from internet. And there are many domains are there. Design engineers, verification engineers, backend engineers, implementation engineers. These are some of the profiles of portfolios in the major companies, but portfolio may vary from company to company. Again, some other thing. Yes, coming to the EDA tools concern, yes, these are the three masters I can say: Cadence, Synopsys, and Metagraphics. Now the Metagraphics is part of this Siemens company. Okay, it was acquired by Siemens. So these three people are masters in EDA tools. Any industries, okay, they may be using, but none of them are using any one tools like Cadence alone or Synopsys alone or Metagraphics alone. So as a part of this design flow, so maybe for design entry they may use Cadence. For synthesis they may use Synopsys. For DFT they may use Metagraphics. On physical design they will come back to Cadence tool like that. Okay, so they'll be using all the tools. Okay, yeah. So even education institution they may not have all the tools. Okay, of course VIT we have all the three tools in here with a number of licenses, but doesn't matter if education institutions are having Cadence or Synopsys or Metagraphics is fine. But the problem is, yes, challenges here is the cost involved in acquiring these tools. Okay, we have to pay a few lakhs, like tens or 20s of lakhs. We have to spend again to get the Cadence and Synopsys tool. But relatively, if the cost is the only concern, then the best thing is you can go for Metagraphics. So relatively cheaper compared to Cadence and Synopsys. But one to decide, okay, which tool is, one cannot say that Synopsys is always better and Cadence is always better. Okay, each and every tools are better than one aspect. Okay, some pieces may not available in other tool. So one can decide based on their experience. So if the cost is only concern, then Mentor is the best choice. But Cadence and Synopsys are equally good in others. And again, if you look at the industries in terms of EDA, Synopsys, Cadence, Mentor, Xilinx, Altera, these are the top companies. Coming to the ASIC design company is concerned, Instrument, Intel, Cisco, Xilinx, Altera, these are the top companies in ASIC design. They are working on various physical integrated circuits. If it is concerned, yes, Xilinx and Altera. I'm just press up due to the time. Yeah, these are some top FPGA companies. And there are some fabs which are popular is Intel, ST Microelectronics, IBM, TSMC, UMC, TI. So these are the people are having their own foundry. They will be fabricating their chip using their own foundry. Even they are also okay. Other people, okay, those who are developing the IC also getting their services. And these are some link to the EDA tools. If you want to download the tools from company, yes, you can do that. Okay, you can download the FPGA based tools from here. On ASIC tools, these are the website, cadence.com, mentor.com, synopsys.com. These are the three major tools. And as I talked about the major events in VLSI in India, these are three VLSI events like International Conference on VLSI Design, which used to happen once in a year. So for past 34 years, it has been conducted. Like last year, it was happened in Bangalore. In 2021, it is going to held in IIT Guwahati. Okay, so the call for paper is still on. And if I don't know whether okay, you can travel during November or what happened to the situation, I don't know. But if you are interested, yes, there's a program called Fellowship Program. So Fellowship Program will be open sometime in the month of October or November. if you just apply, okay, if you apply for the fellowship, they'll be collecting the fellowship. For those people, they'll be giving free registration, travel allowance, and accommodation. Another thing is this one, okay, based listening test. This is going to happen at IIT Bhubaneswar. And third conference is ITC India. This is the test specific conference. This time it is happening in the. So now the call for paper is over. The conference is going to happen in July 12, 13, and 14. One day full of tutorials related to DFT. Also, I want to work in the DFT domain. Yes, I can attend the tutorials. I get a lot of impact. I would DFT. And if you want to participate in the conference, yes, you can apply for the fellowship. This is the link, okay, fellowship link. You just submit the Google form so that you will be getting, will be given free pass. This time it is going to happen in the virtual. Normally it used to happen in the Five-Star Hotel. This time due to COVID-19, so the event is virtual event, 3-day conference. So if you are submitting the fellowship form, so I am the one of the fellowship chair in this conference. I'll be taking care of all the proceedings, all the thing. So you can just apply to this fellowship program so that you'll be getting the fellowship, and without paying any single price, you will be allowed to attend all the sessions. Yeah. And these are some of the top companies in VLSI located in India, in various parts like Bangalore, Hyderabad, and Noida. Before conclusion, I want to take a few questions. Ma'am, I think we have.
Yes. One more. What is the role of VLSI in 5G? What is the role of VLSI in 5G?
Yeah. So 5G is the technology. Yes, ma'am. So finally, at the end, so they have to come up with IC only, IC design. Okay, they have to fabricate the 5G is one of the technology. So which includes again talking about frequency, all this thing. Various algorithm will be there. Finally, they have to fabricate an IC. Okay. So for example, if you say mobile, 5G supported, 4G supported, means that those features should be integrated into some IC. So basically, so finally, whether it's a DSP IC or networking IC or any military purpose IC or biomedical IC, finally the features may be anything. Finally, we have to fabricate on VLSI only. So there the VLSI people are involved. And for kind of information, recently I heard Intel invested a huge amount in the 5G. Recently, they dissolved. Okay, Intel is one of the pioneer in the VLSI. They dissolved the 5G domain. Okay, group in Intel. This is news for you. I don't know. I don't know. The real reason behind this one, but they dissolved the entire 5G group. Okay, now they're jobless, and some of the people are merged with the other group, and yeah, those who are working in the 5G, they lost their job. But I don't have a clear picture about this one. But yeah, 5G. If you are coming to the fabrication, yes, VLSI people are there. Designing means both signal processing people and electronics engineers. Role is there.
One more question, sir. Hello.
Yes, ma'am, please.
What type of VLSI industry available in India? Either manufacturing or testing or both? Just compare.
Okay, ma'am. Just to show the slide. This is the one. So we have all kind of country except Foundry. All are available. EDA means it's a tool development company. Okay. Like Synopsys. Okay, we are buying the Synopsys tool. Yes, we are not to do the design flow. Okay, we may use Synopsys EDA tools. Okay, so again, within Synopsys there are n number of tools are available. Okay, so the collection of tools are comes under Synopsys. Cadence, Fantagraphics, Xilinx, Altera, Intel. Other than that, there are many company, small companies are there. Even for EDA, yes, all are located in Bangalore. Most of the companies are located in Bangalore. They also have some branches in Hyderabad. Yes, EDA companies are available in India. First one. Then ASIC design company, that's a design company. Okay, they'll be taking the project from many vendors. Okay, maybe automotive sector, medical sector, or smart city, whatever it is. Okay, so they have the design company. Design means which includes physical design, functional verification, DFT. Okay, everything. Okay, so we have Texas Instrument, Intel. Okay, these are the companies like yeah. So all these companies are included in Intel. Okay, so the design companies are available, and there are companies which is working on the embedded domain. Okay, like the Xilinx. Okay, not only the video tool company, they do have design team, they do have R&D team. They also take many projects. Okay, from very soon they'll be working on yes, embedded domain. And Tejas Network is one of the FPGA company. They'll be working on embedded domain. Even Cisco is not only a pure software company. They do have ASIC team, and they do have FPGA embedded system domain. They're working, and there are some fab company. Even though fab is not available, in India, but those companies are available. Intel is everything's are there. Design team is there. Validation teams are there. They also have their own EDA tools. Okay, they won't use the Synopsys and Mentor Reflex or Cadence. For physical design, they're using their own tools. They have in-house tools. Okay, to do the job. So like that, ST Microelectronics are located in Bangalore as well as Noida. IBM is there. TSMC. Even though there's a foundry, but they have the office in Bangalore. Yeah, they are working on that. UMC again, office is there in the Bangalore. TA, both the design. DSP, they are known for IPs. DSP processors, many commercial ICs are located from fabricated from TA. So these companies are located in India. So almost all companies except Fab, okay, all domain are available in India. And almost 80% of companies are located in Bangalore. Some 10 to 15% are located in Hyderabad, and 5 to 10% of companies are located in Noida. Okay. But Chennai, Madurai, Coimbatore, small companies, some branch offices they have. But majority of companies are located in Bangalore. Only.
One more question. What will be influence of artificial intelligence in VLSI industry?
Very good question. So one cannot ignore, even though I haven't covered the slide here, AI, machine learning, big data. Okay, so yes, all are integral part of VLSI. Okay, the reason is like, let's say again it's something related to applications. Okay, VLSI people means not only just writing the coding, they should also have the knowledge on machine learning, artificial intelligence. Well, because let's say people are working for VLSI people working for automotive applications. They should have the knowledge on AI. They should have the knowledge on machine learning. Well, because let's say they have, the car may have multiple sensors. Okay, so the people working on VLSI should know how to collect the data from various vendors, how to learn how integrate all the sensors. Okay, how to analyze the things. So even though it's not part of the design team. Okay, there are people. They will be integrated. Okay, they'll be bridging between the pure microelectronics people and then the application people. Yes, okay, but not necessarily each and every people. Those are working in the domain, various domain, need to have an idea about AI or machine learning. But this is the interface. Okay, basically application. That's all. Okay, basically application. Yes, they should have the knowledge on that. Even for testing, nowadays people are talking about machine learning. So they'll be like all the past defects, what are various possible defects are there. Okay, what causes the defect? So all these things are fed into feeder. Then then the artificial intelligence just analyze everything. They will give some possible solutions. Need not be correct solution. It may be possible solution. Okay, they check this advice. That's all.
So someone asked But I asked you to post the fellowship link in the chat box.
Okay, ma'am, I'll put.
Fellowship link in the chat box.
Okay, I'll put it now.
Okay. Shall we wind up, sir?
Yeah,
Anything you want to convey?
Is it available? Just now posted. Here's the link. So last date to apply for the fellowship is this month 30, June 30. So you can apply. All will be given fellowship.
Thank you, sir. Shall we wind up the session, sir?
Yes, ma'am. Yeah. If there's no more questions, so there's no separate conclusion. So I wish to thank all the participants for sparing their time to listen my talk. So I haven't prepared full-fledged slide. So I thought of taking the questions answers. So if you have any specific questions to me, so you can note down my mail ID. I just share the mail ID in the chat box. You can reach out to me. And I wish to thank Kavita ma'am for organizing this session during this COVID-19 pandemic situation. It's very difficult. All the people are facing, and now to keep all the professors and students technically updated. So these kind of sessions are essential. So even I too, other than attending synopsis meeting, oral meeting, even though I used to attend 2 to 3 oral meeting, synopsis meeting, in addition to that, I used to attend at least 1 or 2 sessions every day. Other than that, attending various courses. And yeah, that's one thing. I forgot to mention one thing here before concluding. There's one mentor graphics. Somebody asked, mentor graphics. If anybody want to learn the complete VLSI design flow, yes, Mentor is offering a 1 month on-demand training. They are also giving the full version of tool, through online. Virtually, you can connect to the tool. You can experience the flow. So you can download all the videos also. So if you have license in your college, fine. You can understand. You can complete the flow, and thereafter you can use the tool. Or else also not understand the tool. You can just go through the on-demand training and then do that. I'll share the link now. You can go through that. If any details are required, you can just contact me. So here you can go for online on-demand training. There are many flows are available. For VLSI, only 3 things are only Tanner flow. Somebody is interested in learning the analog flow, so they can choose a Tanner tool, because Tanner tool is now part of the Mentor. Earlier it's a separate tool. Now it is part of the Mentor. Or otherwise, Tessent. Tessent is the I'll type it here. Tessent tool is the testing tool. Somebody asked you about how to equip yourself with it, DFT. So they can choose the Tessent EDF flow. So there many video lectures are there. Even sample codes with full scripts are available. You can just virtually you can run the tool and then learn the tool, learn the things. Or if anybody interested in learning functional verification, yes, you can do. Or if you want to learn Verilog, or if you want to learn the FEG flow, yes, like that. There are many versions available. Just make use of the tool now. Okay, thank you. So, ma'am, that's all from my side. Yeah, you can officially disclose the meeting. Thank you all.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir. Let us wind up this session with a word of thanks. Good afternoon, everyone. It's my privilege and pleasure to propose vote of thanks on this occasion. On behalf of Department of Electronics and Communication Engineering, I render my sincere thanks to our management, executive director, and principal for providing encouragement and support. On behalf of K. Ramakrishnan College of Technology and Department of ECE, I would like to extend a special thanks to our resource person, Dr. S. Shivanandam, for accepting our request and spend his valuable time with us. He is always ready to extend his hand with us. Thank you so much, sir. I also express my gratitude to the head of the department, Professor Sai Redder, for giving an opportunity to organize this event. Also, I would like to extend my thanks to Mr. Mani, coordinator of this program, for extending his support. My appreciation and thanks to all the participants for your active participation in this event. Once again, thanks to everyone. Thank you.
Thank you, madam. Thank you all. Bye.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.